When it comes to camera movement, many of us fall prey to chasing the glitter, going for the big and pretty shots, regardless of how well they tell the story.
Ever seen a film open on a series of drone shots? The audience gets bored, and the shots that do mean something don't come through.
How you move the camera is how you move the viewer. We were just in Ireland filming a story with one of our teams from Muse Film School. The team used 5 different types of tools to create camera movement to change how the shot feels.
In their story, Colin, the main character, struggled with depression and alcoholism to the point of trying to commit suicide. His life was shaky and unstable, so our camera movement had to support that feeling.
Colin eventually learned how to sail, and facing his fears on the water helped him to face his fears in life. Through sailing, he was able to find stability and even start a business of his own helping others. Our camera movements had to change to show more of his security and peace at the end of the story.
So let's dive into 5 different types of camera movement that we used and how the camera movement affects the viewer's experience.
The first type of camera movement is handheld. Handheld feels very unproduced and rather raw. It is fitting to really make the audience feel like they were seeing a moment as it happened.
The extra movement can help a produced scene or moment feel more relatable and real, and can help bring authenticity to a live moment you capture. We used handheld to bring the audience into the darker times in Colin's life, where he was wrestling with his own dark thoughts of depression and suicide. The handheld captures the shakiness and instability he was feeling at that time.
Compared to handheld, the monopod has much more smooth, subtle motion, but still feels very human. It's a great tool to move quickly, but also keep the scene feeling very real. In our story, the main character was in a psych ward on suicide watch after he tried to end his life. The monopod movement helps create the feeling of still being unstable, even with the help involved.
Now, on the other hand, we have the tripod, which is very safe and produced. Great for static and locked-off shots, like an interview. But it is so perfect and stable that it can feel less human. The way we see the world always has a little motion to it, which is much closer to the monopod. Tripods are usually set around eye level or slightly above or below, but still much safer than, say, a drone.
A drone gives an epic, wide perspective. The scene immediately feels bigger. It's important to recognize part of the appeal is the novelty. We don't normally view daily action from the sky, so we are drawn to the novelty of a bird's eye view.
However, use drone shots too much and that impact is lost. So using a drone helps when you want to communicate something big, something wide, and something at scale. And it works best in moderation.
And then lastly, we have the slider, which is much like a slow lean in or lean out into a scene. It can gently reveal a scene or bring us into a character. It is more produced in how smooth the shots are, but a common mistake is sliding into a scene that your viewer is already in. It makes no sense and takes us away from your story.
So the takeaway here is to remember that how you move your camera is how you move the viewer. Going handheld with your camera will create a shaking, unstable feeling and a very raw experience for your audience.
To get the same human feeling, but with more subtle, smooth movements, we use the monopod.
The tripod is best for a locked-down, stable scene where there is not much risk at play.
And a slide in or out of a scene through a slider is a great opener or ending that gets the audience to lean in and pay attention to what's next.
And the drone is for your big epic shots, but remember, less is more.
So as you head out into your next shoot, remember that how you are moving your camera is how you move the audience.